Hi, my name is Sean Arrington with First Stage Productions, and I've created a mod to Hasbro's Loop and Chewy game that allows you to have a 4-player interaction with it. And what I've done is I've modified the base. I have 2 versions of it. One version you can get through Shapeways, which, let me move this over here. This is a nylon, 3D printed nylon version. It's fairly pricey. It's about $80 on Shapeways, but it's a good quality. There's a lot of surface detail. Or I have a downloadable model that is an STL file, one with support material and one without support material if you have a slightly different type of printer. This is printed in PLA plastic. It takes about 8 hours at this level of detail. The model prints like this, so obviously you can't print overhang, so this had to be cleaned up a little bit. Both versions will work, and I'm going to show you how to perform the modification with a stock Loop and Chewy game. So we're going to do it on the home 3D printed version. So we're going to take out the original Loop and Chewy game. If you take a look on the bottom, there are 8 screws. You don't need to take out this one, it's the battery door, and you don't need to take this one off. It's the pivot point for the switch, which turns the unit on. The 6 screws you want are the ones on the outside. So we're going to do those really quickly. Just uses a standard Phillips screwdriver. The screws are fairly close to the surface, so you don't need to have a particularly long-necked screw gun there. Let's go a little more on that. So that's the second one. Here's the third one. I'm lifting it off the table so that you don't press the center spindle up because you want the gears to stay in place. I will do a teardown and show you how you can put the gears back in place if they do happen to fall apart. It's not that difficult. There's only a couple of moving pieces. So here we're on screw number 4. There's that one. And then here's the last of the 6 screws. So these are self-tapping plastic screws. The heads eventually do wear out, so if you want to take this on and off a couple times, you might strip these out. But if you're careful with them, they should be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it together so that the pieces don't fall apart. What you want is this piece here, where the lever is, you want to make sure that it is the last piece to come out. You're going to tilt up the back. I turned it on at the same time. So these are the pieces that you have within the model. If you keep it like this, they should line up and you shouldn't have to do anything special. So I'm going to do it to show you how it slides in. You take the side with the hole, or the port here, and you're going to fit it through there and match it up so that here we go, so that the center piece fits just up inside. What I do is I jiggle it back and forth a little bit so the pieces tend to naturally fall into place. It takes a couple times. And then there will be about a 1/16 of an inch lip around here. That's when you know it's well seated. Before you put any screws back in, you want to turn it on, hold the top and bottom together, and make sure that this button goes down and you can feel that the unit turns a little bit. So that's a good fit. Still holding it together, you flip it back over, and you're going to put these 6 screws back in. And they go here, here, here. It's pretty straightforward. The first time you put it in, you will have to push down hard because there are no screw threads inside of the plastic nibs, these plastic nibs here. But other than that, you're not going to torque it all the way down. If you torque it all the way down, what can happen is, you can hear how it binds down. You want somewhere between a natural sound and this. You can adjust the screws so that it's as loose and it makes the sound that you want to on that. Let me show you how these gears, if by some reason you drop the whole thing and it falls apart, I'm going to show you the pieces. So there's the main piece. This is the pin that keeps Loop and Louie's gimbal from flipping around. This is a gear that all of the teeth are mounted on, but they can't fall apart. And this has a center gear and then a pin. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. If everything falls apart, what you can do is you can put it back together pretty simply. Put the axle here, put this one on there. Then you're going to use this one that has the spring in the middle, and you're going to slide it in underneath, right there. Then you're going to put this with the nipple part, and then put this in here, and set it down inside of there. So as you can see, it moves everything around. That's in case all the gears fall apart. So let's go ahead and put it together, again with this silver guy. And again, we're going to line it up so that the power switch is sticking out of the port. And just let it sit. Kind of rock it back and forth so it all falls in place, and then it snaps. Okay, now we're going to put these in. I'm going to put one screw in again to make sure everything's set before I... And again, not too tight, just until it has a little bit of tension there. We're going to make sure it still turns, which it does. And when you put the screws back in, you want to go opposites from each other and then kind of go in a particular direction. So I put this screw in, I'm going to put this small one in the corner in. Push down slightly. You can use the table as leverage if you need to. And we're going to go here. Too tight, and go opposite. And then I'll go here. Okay, so with this last screw, again, not too tight, I'm going to flip it over. Sometimes if you tighten it too down, it'll make a kind of a grinding sound. That sounds pretty good. So that's the completed base. And now, the rest of the assembly of Loop and Chewy is the same. The gimbal goes here, and again, this keeps this little divot on Chewy, this divot here, from going around, so until you're ready to turn the game on, it keeps it locked in place. You've got your arms, snap into place. So the base Loop and Chewy set only comes with 3 player positions. So what you'll have to do is purchase an additional game, and then use the pieces to put on this 4th player piece. But it doesn't really matter which color you use because all of the tokens for the Stormtroopers are the same. They're all blue anyway. So. And then you would put this 4th piece over here. And put it through here. And for those of you who don't know, there's a hard version of Loop and Chewy and Loop and Louie. And I'll show you why that makes a difference. This is the hard edition, and some people will leave it at a perfect right angle. You don't want to do that. You actually want it to be at an angle so that when Chewy comes in, you're filling this space. It actually makes it a little bit harder. If you're like this, you have a wider angle to hit him with. So if you're going to do the harder edition, definitely put it at the angle. Of course, the easy edition is like this, and it just makes it easier to bat him out of the way. So we're going to start it off and just show you how it goes. Out of my way. Ooh. And oh no, Stormtrooper's out. Oh no, get out of my way. And so on and so forth. So that's the Loop and Chewy mod from 3 players to 4 players. I'm going to put a link in the description below on how you can either get the Shapeways edition, which is about $80, but it's a very high quality print. It takes about a week to get here, and it's a nice sturdy nylon piece. Or you can use the 3D printed version that you can print yourself at home. We've got 2 versions of it, one with support material, without. On average mode, it takes about 8 hours to print, you could probably do the low res edition and get it in maybe 6 hours. But I think that's it. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email or post comments below.